Friend, who is it? A title once so powerful is now being thrown around at any time without respecting its true meaning. Most people in the modern world don't even have friends. We convince ourselves that we have friends, but we really don't. The world suffers from loneliness more than ever before, even though we have all the tools like social media that are supposed to connect the world and give us an ability to make more friends and live a better life. Despite the people in the Western world living in the easiest and most comfortable period in the history of our world, depression is suddenly at its peak. In fact, the data shows that 10% of Americans experience depression and 7.2% of Europeans also experience depression, with Portugal leading the region with a rate of 12.2%. And I believe that the real percentage of depression amongst people is even much higher than that. So what could be one of the main causes of such a depression epidemic? Well, major studies show that a lack of good friendship is one of the main risk factors for major depression. Coupled with that, many recent studies show that more than 50% of individuals we consider our friends do not think the same way about us. Think about it. Are your colleagues at work your true friends, the people in your class and university, the people you go to the gym with, have a drink with, or play video games with? How many of them are your true friends? When you go through a hard period of time or simply stop showing any initiative, how many of your so-called friends will get back to you? The true meaning of the word friend has disappeared in the reality of our modern world. The word has lost its value in the era of social media and instant gratification. So-called friends stab each other in the back and are ready to destroy one another over money or status. Here's what Aristotle thought about friendship. He believed there were 3 types of friendship. Friendship based on utility. This is when 2 people are friends because they simply benefit from each other somehow. These friendships may be beneficial and you may even enjoy being around each other, but at the end of the day, that person is your friend simply because they help you with something. You have no interest in that friend's unique personality traits. In fact, it doesn't really matter who really that person is. You don't truly care about him or her. You simply admire that friend for the value he or she brings to you. And when the utility ends, both of you will forget about each other like you've never met before. It was all just an illusion of friendship. The second type of friendship is one built on pleasure. Perhaps you play video games together, go out partying, talk about recent events, and just have a good time. This friendship is entirely based on pleasure, and it will disappear when the pleasurable activities you engage in together will stop. It is based on the experience of dopamine, it has no deep meaning, and it's not the person who's the source of friendship, but instead the pleasurable activities you engage in. This type of friendship is also often short-lived and dependent on circumstances, because once people's preferences change or they find someone else who gives them more pleasure, they will lose their interest in you. The last type of friendship from Aristotle is the real one, the one built on virtue and the characteristics of another person. Compared to the previous 2 versions of friendship, this is the one built on the person itself. This is when 2 people are friends simply because they admire each other's character and moral values. They have immense respect for each other's characters and vision of life. They don't worry about what kind of pleasurable activity they can engage in together or what they will get from it, but about the characteristics of the person itself. This type of friendship is rare and lasting because it is based on something deeper than utility or pleasure. It requires mutual understanding and appreciation. Aristotle believed that only this last type of friendship can be considered a true one, as it involves both goodwill and affection between equals who wish each other well for their own sake. In order for this type of friendship to exist, a person must really know who they are and what they really want. Knowing who you are may sound easy, but most people haven't discovered their own self and simply followed what society told them their whole life. It is very rare to actually have your own opinion. To see the value, good morals, and character in someone else, you have to first have it yourself. To see narcissistic characteristics in someone else, you have to first get rid of them within yourself. To find a real trustworthy friend, you have to be something yourself. To understand who your friend is, you have to become a worthy person yourself. How do you understand that your friend is a real one? It's when you point out each other's flaws and process them without ego in your way. A true friend will always push you towards something bigger. They will call you out on your mistakes and express their true judgment, instead of comforting you with cheap lies. I'm sure all of you engaged in the first two types of friendship, but maybe some of you have never had a true friend. A true friendship can exist in every circumstance, even if the fun and pleasure disappears. It pushes us to something greater and makes the lives for both individuals worth living. One of the greatest Roman emperors and Stoics to ever live, Marcus Aurelius, says, "Care about what you can do for your friend rather than the other way around. Be generous, supportive, and compassionate towards your friends. Do not expect anything in return or use friendship for your own advantage. Rejoice in your friends' happiness and comfort them in their own sorrow." Don't be afraid to talk to people. Base your friendships on the people themselves and be friends with the ones that make you both a better person. Get to know people and who they are. A friendship based on pleasure and utility does not exist. Don't drink poison if you're thirsty. Sometimes you'll have to be alone until you become a worthy individual, and you will attract the people you deserve. The necessity of circumstances proves friends and detects enemies. Nothing, however, delights the mind as much as a loving and loyal friendship. Seneca.